Welcome everyone to the Alliance of York Business Booster Session. This is our first one, and this is a new format that we're trying for our Alliance group to help us all learn a little bit more about each other's business, go a little deeper than what we could in a quick connect, but also learn some new skills and techniques that we can apply to our business, whether it's technical, creative, or something sort of happening in the industry. So let's get started. Just a reminder that before the end of the meeting to post your contact information into the chat so we can keep a record of that and exchange that with other people. Really quick, here's our meeting agenda. We have, let's click on here, the member business showcase with Carol Donohue. And then I'll be doing a 20-minute training on writing effective recommendations, which apply to Alignable, but they could also apply to places like LinkedIn or even just Google reviews. So, and then after that, we'll close up with any questions and feedback that comes up. Sound good?
Perfect.
What is the Alignable Alliance? If you're new here, maybe this is a new concept. It's a local-based referral network where business owners can meet, support each other, reach out, build their business, support the community, and grow together without the stress and pressure and fees that other networking organizations often impose. I'm Len Marshall, owner of Quiet City Design, in the ward of York Southweston. And that's my profile there. And so let's get into the event guidelines. I'm trying to go through this as quick as I can. This is going to be a fun, interactive experience. So let's have our cameras on so we can see each other and interact face to face, but turn off our distractions. So if you've got your email open, or if you've got Facebook open in another tab, or your phone is buzzing, let's silence those just for the next hour so we can focus on that. We're here because we all want to meet each other and learn about each other's business. If you have a question during the presentation, use the raise hand feature on your Zoom control board, which is right next to where I don't think I can show it because I'm on the screen share, but it's on your control board where you can raise your hand, or you can just start doing wave your hand and I'll see it. And of course, I try to make these as fun and exciting as I can, so let's just have fun with it. Our member business showcase today is with Carol Donohue. Carol is a data scientist and insurance broker. She's actually a native New Yorker who immigrated to Canada when she got married to her husband. She has found the differences in taxes, insurance, and finances between Canada and the US very interesting, and would like to share some information about insurance that we might not be aware of. So let's please welcome Carol. Carol, please share your screen and give us all the information.
Sure. Thanks, Len. All right, so let me share the screen. And you should see that now.
Yep.
Okay, great. So like Len said, I'm from New York and came up to Canada, and Canada and US are very, very different in regards to taxes, as I found out rather quickly. And there's a Canadian-US tax treaty, and went to a seminar and found out one thing that the tax lawyer advised was, as a US citizen, don't get a TFSA. And I'm like, okay, I'm following what the lawyer says, canceled my TFSA because I didn't know any better. And then it wasn't until I'm going for the insurance licensing, I finally figured out why. So what happens is the IRS has never said anything about what it considers TFSA, its treatment of it. An RRSP is very similar to our 401k, so that's an easy one. So going further into Ontario law, like when you pass away, if you're married, all your assets, everything goes to your spouse. But if not, what happens is that Ontario by law, they treat you that all your disposable assets were liquidated the day before you died. And that's how they're going to tax you, and they're interested in the taxes, and it just happens so quickly like that. So the only thing that are not taxed are insurance policies, TFSAs, and your primary residence. So everything else is going to get taxed at capital gains tax and everything like that. So that's one of the reasons when you think about insurance, it's life insurance. Well, actually, it's income protection insurance, it's asset protection insurance, it's estate planning. There's a lot of things involved. And anytime you're looking at insurance, especially business insurance, that's another one. I'll get to that later. When you get involved in the insurance, you also have to have the tax implications. So you would have your tax professional or your accountant or even your lawyer involved. So just in light of that high level, let me just go into a couple slides I prepared just to explain some things at a high level, because basically what happens is every person's situation is different. I'll share some links, and then actually I'll, at the end, after the questions, I could dig up some more. I just recently got some nice calculator links, so you could do some analysis on your own. All right, so let's jump in. So pretty much everyone knows term insurance and permanent insurance. And people aren't sure what they need each one for. So a term insurance thing is like if you have kids and you want to, in case you die when you're young, a term insurance policy is a good thing there. Your mortgage insurance is actually a decreasing term insurance policy. Your permanent life insurance is more things for like your final expenses, which is a thing that's going on. And, vis-a-vis our discussion about the taxes, your final expenses, well, that'll pay for your funeral. That could pay for if you have your whole, the value of what you would get taxed on your cottage if you had it, your, I guess, anything if you wanted to leave a legacy gift for somebody, and that would be included in that. And actually, term insurance, you could get more at the beginning of your life cycle, and permanent is more at the end. And then there's one company I deal with, they have what's called a term plus. And it recognizes the fact that most people have, you do term more in the beginning, and then eventually you're going to want to turn it into a permanent life insurance. And because it's term plus, it also gives you the option to have riders for critical illness and disability. Critical illness and disability could be their own standalone policies, but it's nice sometimes when they add it as a rider because you save some in the fees. So, like I just explained, is, some companies, so that's why as a broker, I'm able to see the variety of different companies. I have access to an algorithm which shows the different options of different companies and get into the details of what are the benefits that each one is offering. Also, that's the thing on, once you get your insurance policy under the no medical exam required, they have a set of renewals that go in there, and then some of them they can even convert to the permanent life insurance. So other options also is critical illness and disability insurance. And this is, on the personal level. So critical illness is going to cover your basic stroke, heart attack, and cancer. And then you could add on if there's other different illnesses, obviously a premium increases, but it's your choice when you develop a policy. And like I said, all policies are very individually specific. So you could choose what it is exactly what you want. So disability insurance that gives you 60% of your salary up to certain limits on that. But when we get to the business section, we'll talk a little bit also about the disability as part of business overhead. So the most important thing is that life insurance is a tax-free amount. I never even knew this. And that's one of the things that Canada has in its life insurance program, a thing called segregated funds. So what it is is a insurance vehicle that also allows you to do investing. Because another thing that's interesting in different states, in the States, I could put whatever I wanted into my 401k. I don't have a cap like an RRSP. I don't have a limit of a TFSA, what they have that. What happens if you have additional assets? Well, you might have it in your brokerage account. Well, that's great. And that'll pass over to your spouse. But at one point you think you're leaving this money for your kids, and no, you're getting taxed on that, right? So what they do is the segregated funds policy. It's mutual funds wrapped inside the life insurance. And the life insurance, that's another thing. Life insurance policies escape probate. So they happen. It's not public knowledge as if probate. So like if you were divorced and you have kids from each spouse, right? So you don't want necessarily, say you got married for 20 years, the first marriage, and then you're only 5 years in the second marriage. For some reason, you want to give, the older kids more of your estate. If you package it into the life insurance policy, it's not going to go through probate. If it goes through probate, you're going to have family fighting and legal stuff. And then there goes your whole estate gone to the lawyers. So, this is just things to think about. And the company I work for is Experior. And actually they're the first Canadian insurance company expanding into the US market. And the reason being is because, well, this segregated funds is kind of like a nice thing because I'm not having to pay the taxes on it. It's insurance and it's a savings and investment vehicle. All right, so this is going into small business, and this is really important. So this is from one of the wholesalers that I work with, and I found these stats from them. So over 1/3 of the Canadian workforce is self-employed. So as entrepreneurs, well, we know who we are and we're there. Part of the Canadian, labor laws, there's people that are contractors and not employees. So that's another segment of what's considered in the self-employed because they're sole proprietorships. So considering that group of people, then we know 50% of Canadians don't have an employer-sponsored benefit plan. And that's one of the attractive things of working for a big employer. You get these benefits. Now, not to say that that's going to be all complete, and sometimes in addition to your group benefits that you want to have your own individual ones, because again, everything is individual and you have to really look at what you're getting. But also in regards to employee retention, benefits are a thing that employees recognize as, it's recognition, it's loyalty, it's, important thing to do. And there are some wholesalers I deal with that specifically for a smaller business market of like 3 to 9 employees, you could have a group policy at a very, very reasonable cost. So another fact there is that 1 in 2 Canadians are going to experience a disability. And I remember there was a year where I wish I had that because I actually got shingles and it was really debilitating. It wasn't fun. So I recommend the shingles vaccine for anybody that doesn't have it. It's not a fun experience. So the other thing that we have is business overhead expense insurance. And this comes into, a highlight, for example, like, just during COVID, people are out. So this is where you get the disability insurance. If you as a business owner are disabled for any reason, business overhead expense will keep the lights on. It'll pay for anything that's considered an overhead expense, such if you're a restaurant owner. It's paying for your utilities, it's paying for your rent. It might even pay for a key person if you could get a rider on for that one. And this is something that you don't have to worry about it. Like, at least your business is still running. You're not going to get devastated. And so this is an example of how the disability insurance is in the business overhead expense. And actually, because it's you're buying it through the business, it's actually tax deductible. So your tax professionals would like that. Let's see, going on. Okay, so there we are. So then I have some, I'll share this in the chat after we're done with the questions. I have a page that financial literacy. So it's like just different tools and calculators that you could use. The second one is a retirement calculator. It's an algorithm. It's very high level, which is what I like. I actually did it myself, and it wound up telling me I had my estimated retirement date, and it told me, actually, no, you're going to need to retire 2 years after that. And I'm like, okay, good to know that. It asks you several questions, 5 minutes it takes, and I partner with Planswell. So part of my agreement with them is that anybody that does that, I do a follow-up call in case anyone has any questions, and that's with them. My email address and my phone number. And then I recently came across with Manulife, I'll have to dig those up and I'll put it in the chat so that you could yourself look and see different rates for different policies in different ways and things that you need. It has a good final expense calculator. So it's like you could look at if you still had, a mortgage on the cottage, and then some other debt, and then funeral expenses, and then say one of the things, you have spouse and children, you just want to have 1 year of living expenses for a final expense, so that it's like in that 1 year, they don't have to worry that much about things. All right. So now, Len, we could open it up for questions.
Great. Yeah, actually, so I don't know if anyone else has any questions, but I have a question. Back to the the term and permanent insurance, if I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
Go back.
Oh, you want to go
like
back?
what could you go back to that slide for a second?
Yeah, go back
now, what's the difference in the benefits that you get from each of those? Like, okay. I know that they cover different things, but how do they sort of benefit you over time or when you need them?
Yeah, sure. So so everything that insurance does is based on actuarial tables that they know different things on life. I'm just going to give an example. So for the critical illness, it's very interesting. The rates are higher for women up until about 42, where the rates change and they're higher for men. So that's because it covers cancer, stroke, and heart attack. So they know from actuarial stuff that you're going to wind up, I guess what's happening is that maybe women are having more cancer younger, and then men have more heart attacks later. So this is how they balance it out. It's all based on the numbers, which is, as a data scientist, I love my numbers. So that's what's nice about it. So with the term life insurance and permanent life insurance. So term life insurance, it's for a set amount of time. They know how much the time is, and that's how they set their prices on it, and it's pure insurance. So what happens in the permanent life insurance, so there's whole life, universal life, and those segregated funds. So what happens in there, the premium, term life insurance, the premiums are always lower. The permanent life insurance, the premiums are higher. But part of the reason being is that you also get a cash value out of that policy, because you're putting money in there. Some of them could be you're participating in the investing in there. Some they're not participating. So again, that changes the price on it. So if I want to be in a non-participating policy where the insurance company is taking the money, investing it, and growing it, that's fine. They'll give me that rate. If it's something where I want to choose my segregated fund, so a segregated fund is the exact same mutual fund that you would get outside there, except it's housed the same fund, but it's housed inside the insurance company and they manage it there, but it's managed with the same parameters. So on that one, because I want to manage some of this, it's going to be a different rate for it. So it's like if I'm taking some of this risk versus, again, it's sort of the actuarials, and it's like who's sharing the risk. So a thing that's good about a permanent life insurance policy is that a business owner could take loans against the policy. So you have a good way to, if you need to get some cash for a temporary reason, you could do that. The other thing with the permanent life insurance is like if you have partners in your business. So there's a thing that's called a buy-sell agreement. So basically, if Len and I had a business together, we would take a life insurance policy out on each other. So what happens if one of us dies, then say I die, Len will collect the money for me, and then he would take that money to buy out my family's portion of the business because the business will go there. So that's a important factor, especially in when you have different families. And what if a child doesn't want to run the business? What if the partner certainly doesn't want to have that child run the business after they're gone? So this way it alleviates that you have peace of mind that at least you have a known buyer for that. It's taken by the policy. And then another thing, it's like, so in that scenario, and this is where it gets involved in the talking also to your accountant, your lawyer, tax professional, because Len and I could buy these policies individually on each other, or we could buy it through the business, and it has that ramification. So it's like, this is why, there's lots of different things you can do. There's all different scenarios on how to do it, but you have to do what's best that works in the realm of, the tax and law, right?
Mhm.
And also, so yeah, going back to this again, so like term life insurance, for example, biggest, it's like your mortgage insurance is a declining one, and you just need it for that, easier in the beginning. But it's like, again, if you have like young kids, if you got a permanent life insurance policy and you started at age 20, well, the rate's going to be really low. And you're going to build up the cash value, so you're going to get there. But it's like, if you're like older and you want to get a permanent life policy, the rates are going to be very high because you didn't have that bandwidth, the flight path to increase your money. So that's the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just generally have a question. So just to give some context, I am a dual citizen. I'm a US citizen.
Just like me.
Um,
Oh no,
yeah.
I'm a permanent resident,
Oh,
not a dual citizen.
okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then my wife is the one who we did our business under her as a sole proprietor. Um, and I guess I'm just wondering, what are the different kinds of insurance coverage you can get as business insurance? Like, I know we have like errors and omissions, we have like cybersecurity. Is there other types of insurance which you would suggest that a business have?
Yeah, sure. So it's like, I'm licensed for life and accident and sickness. Like you said, there's errors in omission with the new cybersecurity. I have my own errors in omission. I didn't get the cybersecurity because I have it through the company I work for. Then there's also your property and casualty. So that's like, you insure your house, the business property, because in case of fire and risks like that. So that's important for that. And then it's good for like you're a dual citizen. Oh, so I guess you're a dual citizen. So I guess that doesn't it impacts me being only a US citizen and not a permanent residence, because it's like property. I shouldn't be having property because that gets complicated in my situation, but you're a US citizen, so that wouldn't be a problem. I think that's about it that you need. You have your cars are under the auto insurance. So I think you're pretty much covered.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to chat with you more about insurance and stuff. So
yeah, no,
yeah.
absolutely. I'll pick up your email in the chat. I'll send you an email.
Okay, thank you.
That's great. That's exactly what this is all about. This is what we're here for. So fantastic. If anyone else has any questions, now's the time to throw up your hand. No? Okay. Thank you so much, Carol, for presenting all of that. I'm going to take back the screen.
Sure, and I'll put stuff in the chat now.
Perfect. Can everyone see my screen now? Awesome. This is a topic that came up during our last Quick Connect. So I thought I would do a sort of quick 20-minute presentation on it. the question really was how to write an effective recommendation. But writing one is fine, but sometimes you want to ask for one too. And that could be a little awkward. So I thought I'd go through kind of all the different components of it and share some ideas. So if you're ready, I actually have a lot of slides. I'm going to go as fast as I can because I want to keep true to our 1 hour and still maintain some time for questions. If we're ready, here we go. Why recommendations matter in the first place. Recommendations, especially on Alignable, it's like your reviews on Google, right? They boost your visibility and credibility. Recommendations help to boost the visibility and credibility of the person receiving the recommendation. They provide a public endorsement of the skills and experiences, which can help them stand out to potential employers or networking contacts. That's directly from Wikipedia. Why else? Well, they strengthen your relationship, right? When you write a recommendation for a contact, it can strengthen your relationship with them and can help to establish you as a trusted and knowledgeable professional in your field, right? Remember, people see who has given you that recommendation as well. So it increases your own visibility, as I said. So writing a recommendation for others also increases your own visibility on Alignable. When you write a recommendation, your name and profile are attached to that recommendation, making it easier for others to find you and connect with you. Your recommendation also appears in Contact's notification panel. And it fosters a culture of giving, which I believe is really what Alignable is all about. Writing recommendations can help foster a culture of giving on the platform where professionals are willing to help and support each other in their careers. Now, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not all recommendations are equal. This is Jim. This is not Jim. These are Jim's reviews. I found Jim by randomly clicking on some people in one of the groups in Alignable. And I scrolled down to find this segment. This is actually from his panel. And there's a great review at the top from Tim Ritter. I first met Jim when he was helping a charity ping pong tournament by flying a drone around an indoor space, filming dozens and dozens of tables, playing away when drones were something most people hadn't even heard of yet. He continues to innovate and all of his in his photography and video work, as well as in his business. And then we have Anthony that says, great small business. And then we have Mona, Judith, Barbara, and Kimberly that said nothing. So in the first review, or the first recommendation from Tim, clearly shows that Tim knows and has worked with Jim and truly values his skills and his abilities. Number two does not, right? Like Anthony probably replied to that email that Alignable sends out the day after you connect with someone and says, you know, do you recommend this person, with a big green button. And they make it easy. That's great. They make it easy for you to recommend people, but sometimes the timing is off and you might not even know much about that person. So Anthony just wrote something because he was prompted to. Great small business. And then the rest are just a list of people that pressed the button that says recommend, but didn't leave a comment. Which of those recommendations would you want on your profile? That's pretty obvious, right? The first one.
Yeah.
So thinking about that, when you are writing a recommendation for someone, what would you want them to be proud of showing? So let's talk about what goes into an effective recommendation. The first part is that you personalize your recommendation, right? Start with a personal connection to the person you're recommending. Explain how you know the person and how long you've been associated with them. So for example, I met Ronald 3 months ago when he spoke at my morning networking group. Okay, so automatically I have time and context. Then highlight some specific skills or achievements that you know about the person. So be specific about the skills and achievements that you're recommending the person for. Use like concrete examples and quantify their impact where possible. So Ron has the ability to quickly understand any technical business challenge, from setting up email forwarding to building interactive voice response systems. Okay. And then we want to change the slide. There we go. Be sincere and honest. Okay, people will be able to tell this, right? Your recommendation should be sincere and honest. Don't write something that you can't authentically stand behind. And this is where, you may not have worked with that person, but you need to be able to say something about that person that you know is true. So for example, I haven't needed to hire Ronald for my company, but I'm confident in referring my colleagues and partners to him to solve their business IT problems. And then another important thing is to try and keep it brief and to the point. A recommendation should be brief, about maybe 100 words to 300 words, and try to avoid using jargon or technical terms that may not be understood by all readers. Okay, for example, I work in the marketing area, marketing niche, so there's all kinds of acronyms that we can throw around, and most people don't even know what that means. Even the words that aren't acronyms are a bit confusing. So try and simplify it, speaking to the general public. Okay. And then this is always the last thing that people forget to do until they've pressed send or submit. Proofread. Okay. Before submitting your recommendation, make sure to proofread it for any grammatical or spelling errors. Your recommendation also reflects back on you and your business. And I don't know how many times I've seen typos, accidental typing errors that have changed the word and changed the meaning of the sentence completely, right? So be careful about what you're typing, especially if you're on your phone and you're typing with your thumbs or swishing around on a Google keypad. Now, asking for recommendations might be a little weird, right? But they are a great way to build up your professional reputation. So the first thing you should do is consider who you're asking, right? Reach out to colleagues or supervisors or individuals that you've worked closely with in the past, people that people that know your work well and have positive things to say can be the best candidates for providing a recommendation. Personalize your request by explaining how you know the person. If this is on Alignable, you might have a few hundred people in your connections. So you might want to just remind them where you connected or where you met from, and why you're asking for their support. A personalized approach shows that you value their time and their opinion. And then provide some context. If you want someone to talk about something specific, then giving that person an idea of the skill or accomplishments that you would like them to highlight is a great way to put that into your request. Be respectful of their time. I don't think Anthony spent a lot of time when he wrote Great Local Business, but the first reviewer, Tim, I think it was, probably spent a few minutes at least thinking about what he wanted to write. So be respectful of the person's time by giving them a deadline for the recommendation and expressing your gratitude in advance for their help. I'll explain that in a second when I show you an example. And then after you've received the recommendation, say thank you. Be sure to say thank you in writing, or a phone call would be great too. A simple message of gratitude goes a long way and builds and maintains a professional relationship. Okay, I don't know if you can see this on your screens, but I wrote a fairly lengthy but involved request. Here's an example. This could be an email or a message, a chat message on Alignable. Hello, Sam. I'm reaching out because I value your professional opinion and would be honored if you would consider providing a recommendation for me on Alignable. I'm currently seeking new business opportunities, and I believe that a strong recommendation from someone like yourself can make a significant impact. I've always appreciated your insights and expertise, and I believe that your endorsement would be invaluable to me. I would be grateful if you could provide a recommendation that focuses on my skill or achievement. If you could also mention maybe a specific project or task that we worked on together, that would be fantastic. I understand that writing a recommendation can sometimes take some time, so I'm happy to provide you with any additional information or context that you might need. Thank you in advance for your consideration. I look forward to your response. So there's a few things going on here. At first, again, personal personal connection, and a little bit of flattery is going on, right? I value your professional opinion, and I would be honored if you consider writing a recommendation for me. Okay, that's kind of fluffing them up a bit. And then being specific. I'm looking for this, and I know that your endorsement will help me with that. So that's alignment. The third paragraph is gratitude and being specific about the context of the recommendation. Okay, and then finally, again, more gratitude, a little bit of consideration for their value, like valuing their time. I'm trying to be helpful to help them help you, right? So that's kind of the guts. Now, you don't have to use something that long. It could be something a bit shorter, but this kind of covers all the bases as far as trying to sell them on writing a recommendation for you. This would work for a job application. This would work for referrals for your company. If a client is looking for recommendations or reviews, this could work for that as well. All right. I'm just going to take a breath because I did all of that in 3 breaths, and I need to empty my lungs. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? That's something that my grade 10 English teacher always said at the end of class. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I think this is great advice. I took a screenshot of how to ask, because that's the hardest thing to ask.
This one.
Put the ask out there. Yeah, that's tough. And even like on when I ask for a Google review from someone, it's a tough thing to ask. You just got to do it, though, I guess. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
That's right. And if you use a framework like this message follows a framework, right? And it's that framework of being personal, kind of telling them how much you appreciate them, right? So it's kind of feeding into that reciprocity principle, and then alignment, gratitude, and context. It doesn't need to be this complicated. If you're asking for a Google review, it could be something as simple as, you're a mortgage agent. So you could send a letter that says, congratulations on closing your new home. I hope it's everything that you've dreamed and you've got everything unpacked. It was a lot of fun working with you to get this set up, and I'm proud to see everything's working out. It would be really helpful for some of my other clients to know about your situation. Would you mind leaving a review of your experience with me on Google, Yelp, Home Advisor, wherever you want that to go, right? And just leave it at that, because you've said, I'm proud to see that you've accomplished something that you really wanted, right? And there's that moment where they are feeling the same gratitude. We got here because you helped us. So it's a simple ask. Any other questions? I'll put this text into the follow-up comments as well on the Alignable group. Any other comments? I know we're at okay, David. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just so I mean, our business is relatively new. Like we started just before pandemic, and so
Mhm.
we've had a number of different clients and stuff, some of whom are on Alignable and some of whom aren't. Do you recommend like personal contact, like connecting like face to face or like video to like ask for recommendations, or is it that kind of like too much work
No, I mean,
to
if
yeah.
you already have that kind of connection, if you already have those people within arm's reach, and
Hmm.
hopping on a call or going out for a coffee or something is something that you're already doing,
Hmm.
absolutely bring that into the conversation. Um,
Yeah.
you could also do a video message, right? Where
Yeah.
you there are some things that you can personalize in a video message, and some that would be a bit difficult to do if you
Yeah.
want to use the same video, but you could wrap it in some personalization and just record yourself saying, hey, we're really proud of the project that we just finished with you. We're going
Hmm.
to share it with everyone that we know. By the way, if you could share a little bit about your experience so that other clients might see the benefits of working with us, that would really help us
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.
30 seconds with a
Yeah.
button to your Google um, review page or to your Alignable profile or wherever
Hmm.
you want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And Tracy,
That's
you can do the
helpful.
same thing. Record a simple video that's just speaking directly to them. If you have the time, you can do them personalized. Say, hey Sam, thanks for working with me on that project with David. I think it's going to be awesome. By the way, if you got a second, you just give me a quick Google review and let me know how things are going so that other
Yeah.
people can decide to do the same decision that you did. So
I think the video is a great idea. Like when I send out videos to my like partners that recommend me, or whomever, it's the clip of my face is always in the body of the email, so they can see that it's a video and they see that it's me. And like the open rate is phenomenal.
for
So I
sure.
think that's a great idea to do the video. I use Loom for my videos.
Yeah. 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 It's a great idea.
Yeah, I never thought of doing that. That's a great idea, because I'll send the email with the link. I should probably just say, hey, it'd be great if you could help me out. And yeah, I like that. Thank you, Rob. David. That's good. Thanks.
And that's something that you can also deliver through messaging. So whether it's a message on Alignable, through Facebook Messenger, through WhatsApp, even if you record the video on Loom, it automatically gives you the link to that page. You can just paste that into your messaging. Say, hey, I made a video for you. Check it out. Right? Who's not going to click on that? I'm just going to do a quick look in the chat window. I don't think there's any other questions here. We still have some time. It's still 10 minutes. How's everyone doing? Hi, Alan. You made it. Just
Hi, how are you?
good, good. We covered quite a bit before you got here, so you'll have to catch the replay. I'm going to post the recording in the group so you can watch it afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't have any other comments. Oh, you know what? I do have some other comments to say. Let's see. As always, please connect with the other members in the Alliance group. So when you're on our Alliance group page, that little link here, directory, is going to show you everyone that's joined the group. And we've had about 15 or 16 new members this month so far, which is great. So yeah, connect with them. Connect with Carol, who presented this earlier this afternoon. And get out and vote. The Local Business Person of the Year contest ends on Friday. Votes with comments actually turn into recommendations. So when you click on cast your vote on someone's profile and it prompts you for a reason, consider that an opportunity for writing a recommendation. The winner in each community receives the Local Business Person of the Year badge, but everyone gets 10 votes. And if you use all 10 of your votes, you get this brand new 2023 Community Supporter on Alignable badge on your own profile. I think this one is much more attractive than last year's badge. And I'm looking forward to seeing that on everyone's profile too. Does anyone have any questions about the contest? I know we're like 2 days away from the end of it, but a lot of people are still asking, like, how do I vote for someone? Or how many votes do I get? Or do I have to vote for somebody in my neighborhood? You can vote for anybody on Alignable in any neighborhood, anywhere. You get 10 votes. You can actually pull a vote back if you find someone that you really wanted to vote for more. But yeah, it's open to the whole network. And the next 2 meetings, I'm going to post these today. March 1st, Wednesday, the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday is when we do our networking and booster sessions. So our next meeting is Wednesday, March 1st at noon. It'll be a quick connect networking meeting. And then again on Wednesday, March 15th at noon, another business booster session. And just a reminder that the quick connects are meeting other locals and learn about their business, share referrals and connections. And the business booster session, just like today, if you want to be considered for presentation showcase, then you must have attended at least 3 prior Alliance meetings. And it's 15 to 20 minute presentation with Q&A. Or if you have a topic that you would like to teach or train people on, you can let me know about that as well. And if you have any topics that you would like to learn about, let me know about those too, so that we can prepare in advance. That is all I have for today. Any last questions, comments, or concerns? No? All right, drop your contact info into the chat and then everyone can save that. And I will also copy the contact information for everyone and put it into the chat, into the comments after I post the video. All right. I hope everyone has a great afternoon and a great week. Long weekend, I just remembered this morning. So happy Family Day on Monday, and we will see everyone in the group and on March 1st. Take care, everyone.